Hi there, Malcolm here with my 350th Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you my generalised planned reading for 2026. Yes, this is another facts and figures episode. Each month I fully intend to do one book of the month and 4 books for my TBR cycle. A book of the month being not necessarily a random book, but something that isn't on my TBR cycle that I quite fancy reading, that I don't know when I get around to reading otherwise. And I generally read that one first and then move on to my main TBR cycle, unless I'm still reading something from the previous month which I need to get finished before I commit to the next month properly. As is the case at the moment, I'm still reading a book I've started toward the end of 2025. I thought I could finish a 600-page book in 3 days. Yeah, that's not happened, and I'm still working on it. Now, my TBR cycle does change a little bit depending on how things are going. Sometimes they finish, and sometimes I swap out what's just finished with something new. But I've been trying to reduce it because it's just got ridiculous. There are 23 on it, and basically what I'll do is I'll read one book from each slot of the 23 and then start the cycle again. So I'll quickly whiz through those. So starting off with Alistair Reynolds. I've got quite a few books by Alistair Reynolds which I want to read. I'm currently working my way through Chasm City at the moment. As I desperately tried to finish it last year, failed miserably. Still got over 200 pages to go. Really enjoying it, but once I do finish it, I'll then read a book of the month and then work my way through the cycle, and then once I've gone through all 23 books, I'll then read the next Alistair Reynolds. Our cycle contains, at the moment, Alistair Reynolds, Alien, or Aliens. I've got lots of Aliens books tie into the Alien franchise. Enemy of My Enemy will be the one coming up, and I'll work my way through a whole bunch of Aliens books that I've acquired and not read yet in that slot. Then it's short stories. It's currently Star Destroyers, one I did start last time the slot came up, but I was a bit slow getting into it. I read a few stories, wasn't hugely captivated by it, was also falling behind where I wanted to be, so I skipped and went on to the next book with the intention of sort of reading a short story here or there, but didn't. So I'm going to do that one properly. But this slot will be a short story collection, of which I've still got quite a few. Then I get to Star Wars, which actually gets 3 slots. I'll be going through my Star Wars chronologically from Darth Bane all the way up to Legacy of the Jedi. I'm currently on the New Jedi Order at the moment, and this has been going on for the last 20 odd years. And of course, at some point, books have been released after I've passed that point, or managed to finally acquire a book I didn't have at the time when I got to that point. And so the first slot of the Star Wars will be reading a Star Wars book that is before where I currently am on the timeline, and I haven't read. Last time round, it was reading the entire Jedi Apprentice series, of which I'd read 13 of them, but I hadn't read all 18. I'd subsequently picked up the missing 5, and so I did a thing of reading all 18 in one go. And then I'll be reading the next 2 books chronologically. So it'll be the next 2 of the New Jedi Order, which will be the Agents of Chaos duology. After that, it's Doctor Who. My wife has a huge Doctor Who collection of books, and she'd been collecting the hardback books that accompanied Doctor Who on its resurgence in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston. I'll be working my way through that. I'm currently on Matt Smith. The Silent Stars Go By will be my next one. I'll be working my way through those in publication order. Fair way to go yet on that. After that is The Stranger Times by C.K. McDonald. This is a new entry. I can't remember what this one used to be. I've read the first 2, and I'd started rereading the first one to my son, who just started reading on his own, and he's now read all of them pretty much. So I thought, I want to continue with the series, so I've slotted it in there. This is replacing something, I can't remember what it's replacing. After that is The Jar of Mystery. I literally have a jam jar full of pieces of paper with book titles on it, which I'll then take one out and read whatever it says. And it'll be either a reread of a series I want to read I haven't got round to yet, or other things that don't generally pop up on even my book of the month type thing. So it's something completely random there. Then it's the horror section. I've worked my way through the Goosebumps, I've worked my way through the Point Horror, and indeed I've got 1 Point Horror book to go. It's 13 Tales of Horror, short story collection, and then I've done all the Point Horror we've got in the house. And so the next time round, I think I've got James Herbert's Ghosts of Sleeth hidden around somewhere, so I might do that one next time round. And after that, another new one is Foundation by Isaac Asimov. That'll be a reread. Been a lot of noise about the TV show doing really well for itself. It's been ages since I've read it. I thought, well, I'll give the whole series a reread. I've only read the first 4, but I want to try and read all of those. And that's replacing the Bob Shaw, Lloyd Biggle Jr. slot, because I'd read all of the ones of that. I think it was The Still Small Voice of Trumpets was the last book I read in this slot. Of course, thanks to the world of books, I've picked up a whole bunch of more books from that category, but they're going to have to wait for a bit. Maybe some honorary books of the month for those. Next up is the Rift War Saga by Remedy Feist. We got gifted a whole collection of these, and I'll be working my way through them. I've just finished the Condor's Sons duology, so I think I've got a new trilogy to get through. I think it's like Shadow of the Dark Queen or something like that. Good bit of fantasy. Next up is Harry Harrison. Last time round I read the Brian Brand Planet of the Damned, Planet of No Return duology. This one I'll be rereading the Stainless Steel Rat Goes to Hell, which has been on my TBR for ages. I keep starting it and then get distracted. I'm going to jolly well sit down and read that damn book. And I've only got a few of those to go. I think it's that one, Joins the Circus, and then Returns. And then I finished off that series finally again. And I've also got some other Harry Harrison on my shelf, which I've not read, which will fall into there. And that's my Terry Pratchett. He gets 2 slots. So one is generally a non-Discworld book, although ironically in this case, it's the 4th of the Science of Discworld, Judgment Day, which is the only Discworld science book I've not read. Technically it is a Discworld book, it's also not one of the main stories. Previously I've done Nation, and before that it was the very short story collections he'd done, or that they compiled, that they found that he'd done. So following on from that, I'll probably end up doing, I don't know, the Bromeliad trilogy again, or the Johnny Maxwell trilogy, or Dodger. Been a while since I last read Dodger. That sort of thing. And then it'll be proper Discworld. Last time around was Masquerade. It's Feet of Clay this time. Really looking forward to rereading that one. Absolutely love the series, particularly the Guards series, and Feet of Clay is a strong one amongst a bunch of other strong ones, really. Then it's my wife's Quantum Leap collection. This is a book series set in the original TV show. New Adventures. Previous time it was Heatwave. I think it's Foreknowledge is the one coming up. I'm slowly working my way through those. Over halfway, but still got a little way to go yet. And then after that, Torchwood. Just finished going through the Primeval tie-in books, and so I figured that could be replaced now with going through the Torchwood books again. They're really good, particularly as they're separate from Russell T Davies's diabolical treatment of the show. After that is the Redwall series. This is another of my wife's collections. I'll be working my way through that one. I've just done The Legend of Luke. I believe I've got Lord Brocktree coming up. I don't think I'm quite halfway yet, so that's still another one that's going to keep me going for a long time. And another of her collections is her Buffy the Vampire Slayer collection. She hasn't got all the novels, but she's got a lot of them. Child of the Hunt was the last one I did. I've got Paleo coming up. I'm trying to go through them chronologically in terms of timeline, as opposed to publication order. And of course I'm limited to what she's actually got on the spinner there in front of me. That, again, another one that's going to keep me busy for a long time. Next it's the Halo tie-in books. I'm going through these chronologically according to the timeline. Again, not publication order. I've picked up a heck of a lot of Halo books, and I've not read very many of them at all. Previous to these was the StarCraft novels, which I really enjoyed. So now I'm doing the Halo ones. Last time round was Oblivion, a Master Chief story. I've got the Cole Protocol coming up. And then the 3 books surrounding the original game. The Fall of Reach, The Flood, and First Strike, which I've read before, but it'd be nice rereading those. Next one's a sort of a new slot. It was my movie novelizations, but having read Total Recall last time, that was the last of those I've got. And that was by Piers Anthony. I picked up a couple of Piers Anthony books from charity shops. And so I'll be reading Mute this time round, and then the other one, I can't remember what it is, next time round, and then I'll make a decision whether I want to keep that slot or that one can go. I don't know. Might be quite a handy one of just picking out a random author who I've got a few books of that I want to work through, because otherwise then it's never going to happen. After that are my thrillers. So I've got Andy McDermott's Wild Chase series. I'm on book 13, 14 now. I've just done The Midas Legacy. I can't even remember what the next one is. Probably working through those chronologically. And James Rowland's Sigma Force series as well. I've just done The Seventh Plague with that one. I haven't even got the next one. But I've got a little while to go before I need to worry about that. And finally it's Stephen Baxter, which was the last one I just did, which was Time Like Infinity, which is book 2 of the Zealey sequence. And so next time will be, I think, Flux will be book 3, which will happen way down the line. And once I've read Flux, I'll be back onto the next Alistair Reynolds. Currently I haven't got the next Revelation Space book, but I have got some other stuff by him which I haven't read yet. So it might be something Conversion or Slow Bullets or something like that. I want to try and do 4 of those a month, plus a book of the month. Bearing in mind it's the 6th of January today, and I'm still working on Chasm City, which I started last year, and I haven't even done the book of the month. It was going to be the fourth book of Adrian Trokowski's Children of Time series, Children of Strife, which I've got an arc for, but that's a 600+ page book as well. So I might do a book I got for Christmas, also by Adrian Trokowski, Made Things, which is a nice skinny little thing which I can hopefully whiz through very quickly. And I'll be doing Children of Strife as next month's book of the month. Above all that, I'll be reading graphic novels. I've got the various Marvel Selects that I've been picking up. I've just read August's one, so I've got 4 of those to go. January's one to pick up at some point. I'm currently working my way through my wife's Wonder Woman that she threw in my direction. I should finish that tonight. And anything else that we've got lying around that needs a bit of love. Plus, I'm also listening to stuff on Audible. I'm currently coming to the end of book 3 of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinian, the Dungeon Crawler's Cookbook. Really, really loving this, but I'll have to find something to tide me over for the 6 days or so between finishing it and getting new credit to get the next one. So I'll have a look on what's free on Audible and listen to that. And ironically, nothing on my wall of TBR is free on Audible at the moment. There were a couple which I managed to do last year, but that's a bit annoying. Because my priority will be reading a book of the month every month, so it'll be at least 12 books, and not that main cycle, which I will read. And there'll likely be things like, I've got the last 2 books of Toby Frost's The Chronicles of Ezanbud Smith books to finish, and then I've done all 6 of them. I've got the second and third books of Tim Lebbon's Relic series, which I want to complete. The second one will be reread, third one will be finishing off the trilogy finally, so I want to do that, and anything else I happen to fancy at the time. I say, generally I don't think about it too much until it comes to the first of the month. It's a case of, right, what am I going to read? And I also read every night to my wife before we go to sleep. And sometimes she goes to sleep while I'm reading, but never mind. We're currently working our way through We Are Legion, We Are Bob, book 1 of the Bob-verse. Really enjoying that so far. And a bit like the book of the month, we don't really put too much thought into what it's going to be before we get there. And it's a case of, well, what should we read tonight? Should we read this one? Okay, we'll do that one. And that keeps us busy for a month or so. On average, we do about 10 pages a night. So there we go, that's my planned reading for 2026. I'll say nothing's really set in stone. I'll be going through the TBR cycle in that order, interspersed with the 12 books of the month as well. I intend to complete 130 titles and 30,000 pages. Managed it last year, managed it the year before. Will I manage it this year? Who knows? But I want to thank you guys for going on the journey with me. I'm planning on doing an individual video review for each and every single one of the books I read. That means I'm getting a lot more videos out there, but they're also generally quite short. They're about, generally about 5 minutes long each. This video being unnaturally long. So have I mentioned any books that you're interested to see my thoughts on? Or how do you plan your year's reading, if at all? Comment down below please, but as usual, if you've nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe and other YouTube things if you want. And until next time, see you later.